This is a presentation of the Sports Source Digital Network, presented by Hearthside Bank.
Well, gobble, gobble. Come on in and join us right here on the Sports Source Digital Network. It's hard to believe we have now reached the season finale. Senior Week is here, or as many of you have already highlighted it, Diego Pavia Week is officially here. Alongside Chuck Cavalaris, Tyler Ivens. We've got a lot of inter-conference showdowns, a lot of conference-on-conference showdowns, with it being Senior Week and being in-state rivalry week. And coming up in less than 8 minutes, that Tennessee-Vanderbilt prediction. Diego Pavia has a playoff spot on the line, and Tennessee football, Chuck Cavalaris, has a chance to play spoiler. And I think one of the key numbers is inside today's prop bet to get us kicked off. Let's talk about the numbers. I'm going to pull my phone up here just to make sure I'm accurate throughout each year. But in the 4 years under Josh Heupel, Tennessee has rushed for an average of 244 yards per contest against their in-state rival. Just to give you a little bit of context, in 2021, 285, 242, 168 in 2023, and then it bounces all the way up last year in that final game that led them to a college football playoff appearance. So you've got that number of 244. But this year, Chuck Cavalaris, believe it or not, Clark Lee's defense, very, very, very talented at stopping the run. They're 25th in the nation. So I want to take Tennessee's average. I want to take Clark Lee and what they're doing this year, and I want to meet in the middle. So Chuck Cavalaris.
Yes, sir.
After what was a struggle against Oklahoma, you only had a long run of 14 against New Mexico State, but you improved on the ground against Florida. Let's ask ourselves, 177 in the hook. Will that be the total, higher or lower, on Tennessee's rushing total Saturday against Vanderbilt?
Okay, when I look at that, Tyler, I see that if I look at the Vanderbilt defense as being vulnerable, I think it's more vulnerable against the pass.
100%.
So, and I'm looking at Tennessee's rushing yards. You got a couple of running backs banged up. I think that Vanderbilt defense, last year, Clark Lee sold out to stop the run. He was bringing a safety up there in the blitz. Tennessee beat him over the top, if you remember.
Yes.
Really, I mean, pretty easily on that. I'm not saying Vanderbilt will do that same approach, but I would feel very comfortable going under 177 and a half Tennessee rushing yards.
Kind of just bottled up the thunder there. If Tennessee's going to beat Vanderbilt, they're going to have to do it through the air. I like this number because it's got the potential where a long run, or perhaps maybe Tennessee grinding out a drive to end the half or to end the game, this could end up being toppled. But if Tennessee's going to end up winning this football game and finishing the regular season 9-3 this year, this 177.5, it's going to fall under. Again, we'll get into this during our predictions on Tennessee Vanderbilt, but I think a lot of damage is going to have to be done through the air.
Right, I agree.
When you look inside these matchups, we got a few conference-on-conference SEC showdowns, but we checked with the people behind the scenes, and they said, seeing that maybe the ACC will trickle over in a couple of these contests, will allow you guys to color outside the line. So Chuck Cavalaris, we have a little bit more variety to add to our Thanksgiving dinner, the final course ahead of what's going to be a big gobble-gobble week. We'll let you bat lead off. Your overall thoughts on where you are this week with some of your matchups on Senior Week.
Okay, I mean, and it is really, I mean, it's hard to imagine more big rivalry in-state or border rivalries in this week. And I'm looking first, I'm looking at this Louisville game. Have Kentucky coming in.
Yeah.
I like what Jeff Brom is still trying to do there. They've had some struggles, but I like them playing at home. Kentucky, I think, is reeling a little bit after what happened to them at Texas. You had some quarterback had to leave the game. So I like Louisville minus 2.5. The 3.5 at home. And then we look at this one, and I got a little bit blurry, so I hope it's still a good pick. Missouri.
That's the betting god saying, are you sure you don't want to arrest that pick? Yeah. Mizzou minus 2.5.
Missouri going to Arkansas. Who has Arkansas beaten? Did you see that?
Yeah.
Alabama, A&M, and Arkansas State. Been on a losing streak since then. And then you got, look at this Missouri team, how they struggled against Oklahoma. And their offense can make some hay, get some yardage, especially on the ground. I like them minus 2.5.
It'll be interesting to see how effective Bo Prabula is in that matchup against the Hogs.
Exactly. And then here, the Iron Bowl. I can see why a lot of people are going to go with Auburn in the points. But I'm looking at everything Alabama has to play for, and you look at having a chance to advance to the SEC championship game. You look at then maybe even at the BCS playoffs. Alabama doesn't just need to squeak by in this game. I think they need to win it by double digits. So that's who I've got, Tyler.
If you wanted me to add a little bit of flavor to this, I'll just go ahead and let you know right now, that matchup between Alabama and Auburn, huge, massive. I would be laying a significant amount of money on Bama for the style points and everything you need in that matchup between those two rival programs. John Pennington, before we went live, made a joke. Usually it's just based on what you last saw, right? That lasting impression. Well, he's on to something, because I think Texas is officially woken up. Here it is. Texas, they get a hold of Arkansas, thump them up and down the field. A&M has a soft matchup against Sanford. You're giving me the home team in points. Folks, if you followed my career, if you have followed me here on Action, there's nothing I love more than a home underdog. Give me Texas, keeping it tight against their in-state rival out of College Station. I like the Horns, again, in Austin. You might even want to sprinkle the money line to kind of disrupt things ahead of the SEC championship game. I love a home underdog. Georgia Tech at almost 2 touchdowns. What am I missing here in this matchup? I know they end up getting walloped in that matchup against Pittsburgh, and it's got some people really concerned just how effective Georgia Tech will be moving forward, seeing that they might be on the outside looking in on a couple scenarios on the ACC Conference Championship picture. But this still means something. And if it wasn't for that dopey overtime rule that we got last year in Athens, Georgia Tech would have won this game outright. Go back and rewatch that game. Questionable penalties, too, to get Georgia back in that game as well against the Jackets. Give me the points in the team in Atlanta. This time they're going on the road, but tell me what Florida still has left to play for. Mike Norvell is going to be kept for a 2026 season. And I like Thomas Castellanos a little bit more than I like DJ Lagway. If you need any reference on why I like FSU on the road to be able to cover a small number, again, I ask you again, how rocking was the Swamp when Tennessee hung 21 early points against the Gators? I think they're done. I think they've quit. I think they are all in on the Lane Kiffin hoodoo voodoo recruitment period in Florida. Give me the Noles to be able to keep things tight in that matchup in Florida.
Advent Electric has been providing high-quality electrical contractor solutions for 46 years. From 24/7 emergency electrical services to providing skilled residential and commercial electrical contractors and everything in between. Our expert certified electricians are equipped to help you no matter the size or complexity. Advent Electric, 865-588-0631.
Happy holidays, not just from us here on the Sports Source Digital Network, but from our friends over at Advent Electric on Rocky Top and in Nashville. Again, making all things possible here on Action. Do you like Action? Well, we can tell based on the comments below. Where are we short? Anybody else curious to the 2-touchdown almost home spread against Georgia Tech, and your thoughts on the Iron Bowl? Like, ring the bell, and we want to know just how much you've appreciated a full regular season of action right here on the Sports Source Digital Network. But I'm going to loosen up a little bit here because I know everybody knows Diego Pavia is my guy. I was a New Mexico State homer on watching Tuesday Conference USA action, seeing him with Clark Lee and Jerry Kill now in Nashville. Yeah. Before we get to our official pick, which we will take at Tennessee -3.5 on Senior Day, Chuck Cavalaris, yes. I want to know what your thoughts are and keys to this matchup. Again, a team known as candy to a lot of us in East Tennessee. Your overall thoughts on the Doors and the Vols?
Well, I mean, Tyler, how long have we been watching this game, and it's the end of the season? Tell me a time a Vanderbilt quarterback had more to play for in Neyland Stadium. I don't think it's ever happened. Vandy's playing for a historical season.
Not even Jay Cutler, yeah.
I know. That's the one that comes to mind. Vanderbilt's playing for a possible BCS bid. Vanderbilt's playing just to beat Tennessee. Yeah. And Pavia, my number one key, gets thrust into the Heisman voting thought and process.
Number 2 in Heisman odds as of this morning.
If he can lead an upset of Tennessee and Knoxville. So that's number 1. And real quick, I don't know of a quarterback in the SEC that throws better on the move, especially to his left. That's something that, I haven't really seen anybody else do that well this year plus just the moxie he brings. And then I'm also looking at rushing yards because statistically, these teams are very similar, I think, in rushing yards. And I think it's going to be important to be able to muster, we talked about it, to get some yardage on the ground, maybe convert a first down, whatever it is. Running the ball is going to be a key, and that includes Pavia.
Yes.
That's, don't forget about that. And then when I look at the last, and I just put this in because I don't know how many people realize this. Tennessee football does not have a victory over a ranked opponent this whole season. This is your last chance. It's senior day. You're playing at home. You get this, you can leapfrog up in the standings, get that ranked win, and then just see how everything else plays out.
If you're new to the Sports Source Digital Network, to Saturday kickoffs, to the original Sundays that have been going for almost close to a quarter of a century, first of all, thank you for finding us. Thank you for finding the production that is all things that we do here on Rocky Top. I've got a little bit of a following by some people because I was a Diego Pavia guy from the very beginning. I watched him from his time at New Mexico State making the transition over. I never thought that I would be in a position where I'd be talking about Diego Pavia going to New York City for a Heisman Trophy presentation, Diego Pavia with a chance to get Vanderbilt into the college football playoff, and Diego Pavia bumping his gums. It was June of this year that he had gone on podcasts, and the Netflix show had already been released, and he could drag Tennessee as much as he could. And now it's an opportunity for Tennessee to finally hush them up. Even talking to some of the players during conference media days and throughout this season, they've played off that they haven't heard, but they know exactly what Diego Pavia and this Vanderbilt quarterback has said all season. This might be a homer pick. This might be a carry the Kool-Aid, drink the Kool-Aid, carry the bucket of water for the Big Orange Sunshine Bumper. I personally think Tennessee's going to make this personal. Personally making it personal. I do believe that Tennessee will go into this matchup knowing that they have a very high win against Florida, knowing that a 9th win, beating a ranked team, as Chuck has already pointed out, is the difference between playing in Charlotte, North Carolina, or potentially playing in Orlando or even Tampa, Florida. Would you rather spend your December Christmas in Charlotte, North Carolina, or somewhere alongside the Gulf side or down in Orlando? Tennessee knows what's on the line for a lot of these seniors. I think they'll take it personal, and it's an opportunity to finally shut a big trap up that was Diego Pavia. And to the ghost of George Cafico and to all the former players who would say, you don't lose to Vanderbilt. You're right, you don't lose to Vanderbilt. I'll lay the 3.5 points, and I'll take the Vols. A lot of people are going to watch that, Chuck, and they're going to go, he's just carrying water. He didn't really give us a whole lot of why he likes that. If there's one stat that stands out in this, if there's one stat that does stand out, Diego Pavia has absolutely just been raking in the passing yards as of late. And you can question whether or not Tennessee's secondary is ready for the test. I will say this, though. The Volunteers have had a steady diet of slowing down tight ends this year. I want Diego Pavia to be able to show me that he can win a football game when a lot of his big targets like tight ends as well as slot receivers are taken out of this contest. I trust that Tim Banks has a game plan that's going to keep Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt grounded with the Volunteers being able to extend this game.
Yeah, it's already been mentioned. Is Tennessee linebacker Arian Carter, is he going to be like a spy? And Tennessee, I think, typically is reluctant to do that, or at least do it consistently.
Sure.
I think there'll be certain situations they will. And what's the one name we hadn't mentioned? Joey Aguilar.
Yeah.
How about this stage for him as well and the Tennessee receivers? I mentioned I think you're a little banged up at running back. The Vols receivers against the Vanderbilt secondary, that's advantage Tennessee. You're playing at home. It's senior day. I also will go with the Vols. I give Vanderbilt every chance in the world to come in here, and it should be a heck of a football game.
It's interesting. Will this be the last time that we talk about Joey Aguilar and Diego Pavia in the same statement, seeing that the pending lawsuits and eligibilities that are happening with the NCAA? We could be doing this all over again next year in Nashville. Chuck, appreciate it as always. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Look, and I'll speak for both of us here, and I'm not a guy who usually does that. Thank you for tuning in each and every week. There's a reason why we bring you Monday numbers to prepare you throughout the entirety of your work week, or in this case, the holiday work week. To John Pennington, to all the people behind the scenes that make this possible, Advent Electric, and including you. Once again, click, comment, like. We can't wait for the postseason around college football, and you can find us right here all throughout the holiday season on the Sports Source Digital Network. Again, thank you for tuning in for another episode of Action. Hey folks, before you head to your favorite sports book, make sure you're setting limits. Only gamble what you can afford to lose. Never chase your losses. And if you think you have a sports gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.